Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Martial Arts Prodigy. Sorry, I'm Kryptonian. Chapter 1. Hold Head High. Yi Ren was dumbfounded. When I woke up, I found that the world had changed, and this was not the Earth I was familiar with. It is a parallel blue star in 2035. A world with spiritual monks, supernatural beings, and those favored by gods. What about my system? Why don't I have a system? The first 10 minutes of time travel. Yi Ren was extremely excited. But after searching for a long time, I didn't find my golden finger. Instead, I felt a little dizzy. Send. No way, no way. Could it be that there are people who travel through time without a golden finger these days? Hiss. Ha. It is also very strange to say. Just as Yi Ren finished muttering, he suddenly covered his head and gasped for breath a few times. The head is more dizzy. But it was that kind of comfortable dizziness. Yi Ren felt light and dizzy with every breath he took. Kind of like drunk oxygen. So, in this world, I'm an orphan again. Dragon Kingdom has a spiritual martial path, from ancient times to the present, a total of 9 stages. Yi Ren scratched his head. Gao Wu world, pooh. It's obviously a fantasy, a spiritual monk in this world. A total of 9 paragraphs. What time is it? Yi Mo, shouldn't it be time to get up and practice? Talking in a daze. It's Yi Ren's upper bunk in this 4-person dormitory. Wang is not poor. It's only 5 o'clock, you sleep a little longer. Almost instinctively, Yi Ren responded. Although it was just time traveling, it was obvious that Yi Ren had easily integrated into it. Oh, then I'll lie down for a while. Yi, I had a dream. I dreamed that you became a 9-stage immortal. Quote. Yi Ren rolled his eyes. Don't talk 9 paragraphs. He is only in the Yinyuan body refining realm now. He is the best in this dormitory, even the lowest group of warriors in this academy. At once, it makes no sense. Yi Ren twisted his face. You won't really send it to me, will you? If you don't give it to Goldfinger in time travel, do you want me to show it off? But Yi Ren searched for a long time. I really didn't find out what system I have, Grandpa or something. My golden finger was stolen by Gazi. Yi Ren smiled bitterly. He left the bed, staggered for a while, and almost lost his footing. Take every breath you take. That light and comfortable feeling. It's simply overwhelming. Could it be an aura from Legendary? Wait a minute. Yi Ren's pupils lit up. Could it be that his golden finger is a martial arts prodigy? Could it be that I am the 1 in a million talented player? Thinking of this, Yi Ren quickly put on his clothes and went outside to the balcony and moved his body. The road to spiritual martial arts, 9 sections in total. A piece of Yinyuan mirror, body training. Following his instinct, Yi Ren made a posture, then fixed his eyes, and raised his hands on both sides of his waist. Punch, lunge. The carp stood upright when it fell sideways and turned over. Kick, pan elbow. Take a false step to close the momentum. Fist. A set of elementary youth martial arts exercises are completed in one go. The Wushu gymnastics optimized based on the 5-step boxing, is a special gymnastics. But one set is over. Apart from making Yi Ren feel even more dizzy, physical fitness has not gotten stronger. After a period of body training is completed, you can feel the existence of qi, and you will step into it. Erduandong mirror practice qi. But Yi Ren scratched his head bitterly. I didn't feel angry after thinking about it. Could it be, in addition to traveling by myself, is there really nothing different from ordinary people? Thinking of this, Yi Ren couldn't help being a little depressed, and just sighed. Suddenly I felt warm all over my body. It turned out that the sun had risen, golden sunshine rained down on Yi Ren from the distant skyline. Ah! A moan of relief. It floated out of Yi Ren's mouth. Comfortable. It turns out that basking in the sun is such a comfortable thing. I just finished a set of martial arts exercises, and I was a little tired at first, but now it seems to be fully charged. 7:15. When the preparatory bell rings, all students in the school must gather in the playground. The school stipulates that everyone must perform gymnastics 10 times in the morning. Wang Buchong approached Yi Ren. Yi, what's the matter? Did you take drugs today? Something is wrong. Wang Buchong stared at Yi Ren for a long time. Others do 5 sets of gymnastics in a row, so they have to stop and rest for a while to recover their physical strength. But look at Yi Ren. He played it 10 times in one go. The movements are standard, clean and neat, and every punch and every style reveals a beautiful energy that makes people applaud. Today is fine. Yi Ren rubbed his chin and looked in the direction of the sun thoughtfully. Light and fluffy. With each breath you take, you will feel more comfortable. Especially when the sun shines on you. It was so warm that he felt like he was lying in a cradle. My golden finger, could it be related to sunlight? I'm thinking about it. Yi Ren felt his neck being hooked by Wang Buchong. I said, Yi, you don't mean to break through to the second stage, do you? Wang Buchong grinned. This is a good thing. There is only Yi Ren left in this dormitory. Enduring the glare of the sun, Yi Ren gradually narrowed his eyes. Shang Bing. In the class, there is a boy named Shang Bing whose ancestors opened a martial arts gym. He is the first monk in this class to become the mirror of Erduandong's spiritual martial arts. On weekdays, I rely on myself to be better than others. At home, there is an old man who runs a martial arts gym. This guy then ran amok in class, taking pleasure in bullying the weak. It's not until 8 o'clock. Everyone returned to work and waited for the gap between classes. Shang Bing carried a thin boy with a smile on his face. I heard, someone is trying to speak ill of me behind my back. It can't be you, Xiaolong. The boy shook his head fearfully. Next moment, Shang Bing actually threw him out, and with a bang, the thin boy hit the table in front of Yi Ren. He clutched his waist and let out a shrill scream. Only the weak will talk behind their backs. If you see that I am unhappy, come and fight me. Shang Bing is used to domineering. He strode up to Yi Ren with a dark face, and glanced at Yi Ren. Go away, don't get in the way. Quote. Yi Ren glanced at the boy who was still howling on the ground. He cast a begging look at himself. The other students all looked ugly. But no one dared to stand up. After all, no one wants to fight Shang Bing. What if he is disabled? It stands to reason. Yi Ren felt that he shouldn't meddle in his own business. But seeing the frightened look of the thin and frail boy, he sighed. It hurts. Shang Bing, that's it, don't hit him. Quote. Shang Bing froze for a moment. He never expected that Yi Ren, a rookie who had been stuck in body training for several years. How dare you talk to him like that? You took the wrong medicine. This strange feeling made Shang Bing even couldn't help asking. Shang Bing, stop fighting, stop it. Yi Ren swallowed. In fact, I am also afraid. This guy Shang Bing is so ruthless when he makes a move. Look at the boy at his feet. The waist just hit the table directly. Change yourself like this. Maybe the spine will be broken. Oh, I see, you want to stand up for him. Shang Bing first showed a sunny smile. Then he reached out and picked up Yi Ren's collar. He lowered his voice. His eyes gradually became playful. Haven't played with me for too long. Yi Ren tensed up all over. But vaguely, Yi Ren actually felt a little excited. At this time, Shang Bing, what are you doing? Outside the corridor, a delicate and lovely girl stopped at the door with a blank expression. She was wearing a pair of black-rimmed glasses, which made her look a bit old-fashioned, but she couldn't hide her stunning face. A simple t-shirt and jeans wrapped her slender and exquisite figure, and her slender and straight legs were eye-catching. The long hair is simply tied into a high ponytail, which looks heroic. Are you good at beating? It's useful to be able to be a fart. The most important thing for a person is to have power and background. You don't really think that if you have a father who runs a martial arts gym, you are really a crab. The girl looked at Shang Bing expressionlessly. Gently pushed the glasses. At this time, Shang Bing's face was gloomy, with an aggrieved expression that he couldn't swallow or spit out something in his mouth. Finally he let go of Yi Ren with a cold snort. You really have face, you want a woman to help you out. Shang Bing gave Yi Ren a middle finger. Then he returned to his seat in a daze, and played with his mobile phone. The thin boy on the ground also silently clutched his waist and went to the infirmary. Before leaving, he whispered to Yi Ren. Thank you, Brother Yi. The girl with glasses came to Yi Ren with a straight face. She checked Yi Ren's body carefully, and after confirming that there were no injuries, her face softened a little. Thank you, Monitor. Yi Ren scratched his head. This beautiful and lovely girl with black hair and glasses. I used to practice with Yi Ren in a certain martial arts gym when I was a child, but unfortunately they separated later. As a result, when we met in this class, Yi Ren felt that the gap between the two was too far away, so he didn't talk to her again, even thinking that she had forgotten herself. You're welcome, go to my martial arts gym after school today, and I'll teach you chi training. People around heard the female squad leader say this. For a moment, Shendu's eyes on Yi Ren became strange. Good guy, when did Yi Ren hug her thigh? Also, if you still remember my name, call me by my name in the future. Ah, Yi Ren froze for a moment. Under the girl's calm yet oppressive eyes, he opened his mouth hesitantly. Okay, Walnut. Hey, the female squad leader's surname is Hu, and her name is Hu Dao, which is a very cute name. I'm about to break through the third stage of Yaoguang stepping into the air, you have to catch up with me quickly. Quote. Yi Ren frowned bitterly. I also want to catch up with you. It's that easy. Whispering sound. Xiangbing not far away rolled his eyes, but still couldn't help showing a jealous expression. This girl is about to break through the third stage. Hell, why does a woman have such a good talent? If only I could give it to me. It's class time, so pay attention. The female squad leader still had the same expressionless expression. His tone was also cold. But why does Yi Ren feel weak all over? Kind. Mom is teaching her son how to feel. Ah, this must be an illusion. I know the monitor, I will work hard. Call me by name. There must be something wrong. Yi Ren twisted his face. The female squad leader's eyes became sharp again. Good walnuts, sister walnuts. Quote. I don't know if it's an illusion. Yi Ren seemed to have seen the face of the female squad leader just now. There was a moment of astonishment. A hint of surprise and a smile followed. But when he wanted to take a closer look, he found that she had returned to her 3-no expression. Well, have a good class, go to eat at noon, and I will treat you to a full meal for the final exam in the afternoon. No, monitor, you. The squad leader's eyes became sharp again in an instant. Yi Ren had no choice but to keep his mouth shut. Speaking of final exams, Xiangbing suddenly grinned. Everyone pays attention to actual combat these days. Unsurprisingly, the final assessment in the afternoon was also a duel practice. Hey, exam. You can't protect that rookie, can you? You beat me up last time. I still remember it until now. Xiangbing narrowed his eyes. I can't beat you, so can I still beat that rookie? I can't peel off all your skin this afternoon. Noon. Wang Buchong found Yi Ren with Li Fidao. Although it is a dormitory. But they are not in the same class as Yi Ren. Yeji, have you been bullied? Is that Xiangbing again? Yi Ren could tell. Wang Buchong is here to find a place for himself. That's not. Send them all, buddy, if you are beaten, don't feel embarrassed and refuse to say it. There are 4 people in the dormitory. Yi Ren, Wang Buchong and Li Fidao have the best relationship. Don't mention the rest. Just like now, Li Fidao glared at Yi Ren. How about this? After today's final exam, Wang Xiao and I will find a sack and go to take that Xiangbing. Don't. Yi Ren waved his hand quickly, wanting to say something, but the female squad leader came. Your friend, she spoke indifferently and cleanly as always. Wang Buchong and Li Fidao stared at the squad leader twice, and then silently gave Yi Ren a thumbs up. Okay, then don't bother. For the final exam in the afternoon, actual combat practice, Xiangbing should find you to practice duel. I know, monitor. Yi Ren seemed to hear the sound of a sharp sword being unsheathed. Oh, that turned out to be the monitor's sharp eyes. Nut. I said nut. I'll treat you to lunch. Take the exam in the afternoon and calm down. If you lose, you lose. Protect yourself and admit defeat. It's not ashamed. The squad leader gave Yi Ren a lot of food in the cafeteria with a blank face. Although Yi Ren knows that the monitor is not short of money. But still looked terrified. Can't I not lose? Quote. The squad leader froze for a moment, then slowly shook his head. The gap between you and Xiangbing is too great. He is at the level of second stage Dongming Qi training. He can detect the weaknesses of your moves and target them. At the same time, he can use his energy to force. One punch, you can't stop it, so remember to admit defeat. Yi Ren sighed. Headache. It would be great if I had a golden finger too. Come with me after school, and I'll take you to my martial arts gym to practice chi. Yi Ren thought for a long time. He couldn't understand why the monitor was so kind to him. What does she like about me? It doesn't make sense. Squad leader, oh no, Walnut, why are you being so nice to me? Do you remember what you told me when you were a child? The squad leader pushed his glasses expressionlessly. It seems to be with a little expectation. But Yi Ren thought about it for a long time but couldn't think of it, and finally scratched his head in embarrassment. The squad leader didn't seem disappointed either, he just said. Let's eat, remember to admit defeat in the afternoon exam, don't get hurt, or I will avenge you. Quote. I have to say that the food in the cafeteria tastes really good. Although the price is not cheap, it is worth the taste. In the afternoon, the teacher in charge of the final assessment announced the rules. Really, practice in groups of 2. Xiangbing immediately raised his hand. Teacher, I want to fight Yi Ren. The teacher frowned slightly. Dude, Yi Ren is the bottom of the class, we all know that. But who are you, Xiangbing, to fight him? It is estimated that there is some grudge. But the teacher didn't disagree, and nodded to say yes. Well, the others looked at Yi Ren with pity. Especially the skinny boy who was still clutching his waist. A hesitant expression. Come on, are you ready? Xiangbing grinned. That playful look made people irritated. Start with the teacher's yell. The onlookers couldn't help turning their faces slightly. I don't want to see the scene of Yi Ren being beaten so badly that he kneels and coughs up blood. But who knows? Xiangbing pulled forward, Duandong Mingjing, his reaction was far beyond ordinary people. At the same time, with the force of qi, he completed a straight punch that flows freely. This punch, it hit Yi Ren's head. Quote. The teacher's pupils shrank. He didn't expect Xiangbing to be so ruthless, it would kill people. For a moment, the teacher's eyelids twitched. Careless, although Xiangbing is still a student, he is so vicious. He couldn't stop this punch, and Yi Ren couldn't dodge it. Xiangbing, who missed a punch, was stupefied. Escaped. Yi Ren looked puzzled. Is it an illusion? Why does it feel that Xiangbing's punching speed is very slow, and he can dodge it casually? You boy. Xiangbing's face darkened, the people around him were watching all the time. This fierce punch of his own missed. This made him lose face a bit. At this time, the eyes of the onlookers also lit up. The skinny boy even cheered. Is it possible? Can Yi Ren really fight Xiangbing? Come again. He roared and punched again, so fast that no one could see clearly except the monitor and the teacher. But, Yi Ren made a suspicious sound. How? Why so slow? Are you kidding me? You don't even need to concentrate, just look a little and you can dodge. The teacher's face also changed. This kid. Something is wrong. Isn't he a Yinyuan body refining realm? It stands to reason that his physical fitness is tougher than ordinary people. Then how did he escape Xiangbing's punch? Naturally quick. Not bad, talented, can be cultivated to see. Quote. The female squad leader pushed her glasses, and there was some light flickering in her eyes, and the corners of her mouth. It also evoked a graceful arc slightly. Dodged again. What kind of reaction is this? I can't even see it clearly, so he just avoided it. The onlookers let out a sound of surprise. Xiangbing lived in Bengbu. He gritted his teeth and punched continuously, trying to crush Yi Ren with a storm-like attack speed. However, no. Have you always been this slow? Yi Ren walked around in his fist like a stroller. Tilt your head, turn sideways, and lean back. With a few simple moves, Xiangbing missed a single hit. Even Xiangbing gasped a bit tiredly because of this set of Wang Bakwan. Don't hide if you have the guts. Xiangbing couldn't hold back his face and let out such an angry roar. The people around suddenly roared with laughter. Fight with you or hide. Isn't that stupid? For a while, the air is full of joy. Don't hide. It's not that I don't walk around. After Yi Ren gained confidence. Seeing that Xiangbing was actually standing there, Xiangbing was overjoyed. Stupid. Simple aggressive method. Really let this guy not hide. The gap between the second stage and the first stage is not so easy to bridge. Use qi to force. With 20 years of hard work, this fist can directly punch a hole in the wooden dummy. Stop. The teacher's pupils shrank slightly, and he subconsciously called out. A martial artist who trains chi is definitely not something that a martial artist who trains his body can hold on. This punch goes down. The strength will penetrate Yi Ren's skin and directly hit the internal organs. Internal bleeding can easily lead to the death of a warrior. Oh shit, the onlookers exclaimed. This punch is real, so no one has to lie down in the hospital. Get out of the way. The teacher shouted. He is angry. Yi Ren obviously has the ability to hide. Why do you want to head with Xiangbing? He is a second stage chi practitioner. You are looking for death as a body practitioner. However, there was a dull sound. Boom. A famous physicist Niu once said. Forces are reciprocal. Xiangbing's expression first changed from joy to pain, and then from pain distorted into an indescribably weird facial expression. Ah, pain, heartbreaking pain. He clutched his right hand, the paw trembling constantly. It's bleeding. The meat exposed due to the recoil can be vaguely seen. Yi Ren staggered back 2 steps. Rubbing his chest, he looked suspicious. Ah, this. Actually, the moment he was hit, Yi Ren did feel a little pain. But only a little pain. It was like being knocked. But on the other hand, Xiangbing, my good guy, I'm afraid that hand is abolished. Ouch. The teacher let out an exclamation of disbelief. Xiangbing of Erduandong Mingjing. Use qi to force. A punch landed on Yi Ren, who was in a yin yuan body training state. You actually got hurt yourself. Seeing Yi Ren like that, except for a stagger just now. Unscathed. This kid is a talent. The howling Xiangbing was helped to the infirmary. And Yi Ren was under everyone's dumbfounded gaze. Was declared the winner. He is also the first martial artist to pass the final examination. Good guy, he hid deep enough, no wonder he dared to fight against Xiangbing this morning. No, has he broken through to the second stage? Why can't Xiangbing beat him? I see, this is the pig and brain tiger in Legendary, right? The teacher also smiled and patted Yi Ren on the shoulder. Good, plastic talent. Yi Ren scratched his head, his big eyes filled with even greater doubts. When did I become so powerful? Could it be the meal at noon? Yi Ren is not sure. He subconsciously looked at the monitor. She happened to be looking at herself too, and the two looked at each other. That moment, Yi Ren actually felt his heart beating faster. Hell, why is the monitor secretly looking at me? She won't be like me. The squad leader turned his head away at this time, and it was time for her assessment. She pushed up her glasses, and the boy standing in front of her clasped his fists in a somewhat reserved salute. Start end. In less than 5 seconds, the teacher smiled happily. In addition to Yi Ren, there is also such a good seed as the squad leader. Good. The squad leader ended the battle gracefully with just a high whip. The unlucky child on the opposite side held his buzzing forehead and waited for a long time. In the infirmary, after bandaging his hands, Xiangbing looked like he was crawling with ants. How can that be possible? That vegetable chicken. The rookie who is known to be at the bottom of the class for a while. To embarrass myself so much today. That guy. Why did he become so powerful all of a sudden? His eyes darkened. Not. Are you on drugs? After Yi Ren has become a blockbuster if he doesn't sing. His status in the class has skyrocketed, and everyone calls on him to be the deputy monitor. But Yi Ren just finds it troublesome. They all refused. Evening canteen. Wang Buchong and Li Fidao flew over excitedly, attracting many surprised looks along the way. Are you on drugs? ? As soon as he opened his mouth, Yi Ren was taken aback. He quickly glared at Wang Buchong. You're only on drugs. Can you talk nonsense like that? Be careful. But you beat the bear soldiers in the second stage. Ah yes. Whoops. Wang Buchong and Li Fidao stared at Yi Ren for a long time. Until the squad leader came over. They sighed quietly. Maybe, this is the power of love. Yi Ren. With the squad leader around, the two of them congratulated Yi Ren, and then sneaked away after extorting a nightly barbecue. Yi Ren looked into the monitor's face. It's cute and beautiful, but those big rustic black-rimmed eyes are too bad. And although the high ponytail is full of heroism, it lacks the weakness of a woman. But the squad leader is in good shape. Look at it. Protruding forward and backward, if this pair of long legs wear stockings. Congratulations, you look handsome today. Aw, thanks Ben. Who nut. The class monitor bought a lot of delicious food, and she also offered to bring food to Yi-Ren. That gentle and pleasant look. If it wasn't for the lack of expression on his face all the time. It's really full of wifely taste. I said class. Yi-Ren pouted and was about to say something when he suddenly smelled a sweet fragrance. It smells so good, huh? Why did the squad leader suddenly tilt his head and fall asleep lying on the table? Yi-Ren froze for a moment, and when he turned his head, he found that everyone in the cafeteria had passed out. Instinctively, Yi-Ren quickly closed his eyes and lay down on the dining table. At this time, two blonde foreigners appeared quietly at the entrance of the cafeteria. Is it all done, sheep? It's just a group of children, of course there will be no problems, and, please call me by my correct code name, Sleep. In foreign language, sleep is a bit like spelled sheep. But the pronunciation is completely different, indicating that this person called his name on purpose. Yi-Ren pretended to fall asleep, and secretly opened his eyelids a little. Those were two foreigners. Judging from their accent, they seemed to be two people from M country. The Dragon Kingdom is fine, after all, it is a country with 1,000 years of culture. But foreign countries are in a state of chaos now. For example, Country M has an organization that has been a headache for the government for a long time. Red Shark, pretty funny name. This is an unregistered organization of supernatural beings. It also has a good reputation internationally. Hercules, get busy with the task first, catch all the children on the list. The Red Sharks sent them with two goals. One is to kidnap talented young people and bring them to organizations for brainwashing and training them as spies. The second is to put the blame on M country and provoke conflicts between Dragon country and M country. Only in this way, these organizations can survive in chaos like a duck to water. These Longguo people are really powerful, they can become stronger without compound number. 6. It's a pity that we can't learn their martial arts, but there is no need to learn them. Give a shot. It is equivalent to 20 years of cultivation. Although he may die, no one can resist such a temptation. Yi-Ren listened to what they said. Suddenly his body tensed up. Because of the muscular man with lush chest hair. He even picked up the squad leader. Not only the squad leader, but also some young people were taken away by them. One can make people sleepy, the other is very powerful. Yi-Ren's heart beat faster. Can you fight? Can you beat it? Even if you can't fight, can you just watch the squad leader being taken away? Sheep, are all the people on the list here? No. You have to go with me to the dormitory area. Yi-Ren heard this and was anxious in his heart. What about those teachers? Why is there no movement at this time? When the two foreigners left the cafeteria, Yi-Ren raised his eyelids. About 50 meters apart, Yi-Ren followed behind them silently. The movement is very light and very cautious. Could it be that the whole school has fallen asleep? The ground was full of sleeping people. When Yi-Ren passed by the office, he saw that the usual teachers were also soundly asleep. Stranger. It really is a group of guys not to be underestimated. Soon, Hercules stuffed the kidnapped dozen or so boys and girls into the car outside the school. Everyone on the list is there, so let's withdraw. Hey, the people of Long Kingdom must not fight with those politicians this time. At this moment, many teachers opened their eyes one after another. After a brief daze, they all realized that something might be wrong. The expressions of the two supernatural beings from Country M also changed when they saw the teachers flying out as lightly as swallows. Sheep, didn't you say they would sleep for 2 full days? How did I know that this group of Long Kingdom people are so physically fit? Yi-Ren saw a teacher who seemed to be in his 30s. With a tap of his toes, he flew about 10 meters straight, with elegant and unrestrained movements. Third stage, Yao Guang stepping into the sky. Yi-Ren showed envious eyes. A martial artist to this level has almost left the category of human beings. You can leverage your strengths on anything. Although it is not a real flight, it is almost the same as flying. Leave it to me. In the blink of an eye, dozens of teachers from the third stage Yaoguang stepping into the sky stepped forward. The Hercules in the Red Shark organization roared. Sleep, you go drive. His whole body was tense, and then it turned out to be like soaked dough. Started to swell up. With a muffled sound, He puffed into a small titan 2 or 3 meters high. Yi Ren blinked in confusion. Green titan. It is not as exaggerated as the green titan, but the impact brought by the naked eye is really terrifying. The Hercules just smashed a small hole in the hard ground with a random hit. That's a concrete floor. The teachers rushed forward, although they were far inferior to Hercules in strength. But relying on the air treading technique can make him dizzy. Amazing. What Yi Ren saw was his eyes shining. The warrior teachers landed on the Hercules with every punch and palm. The strength pierced through his body, and could beat him until he screamed. Sheep, get the nuclear man out. Go on like this. Hercules knew he would die. He couldn't even dream of it. My own skin can resist machine gun fire. Even being hit head-on by a rocket was only a minor injury. But in the face of this group of Dragon Country warriors, the hard skin is like a decoration, and their strength can directly penetrate into the internal organs. Hell. Nuclear man, come out and do something. Sleeping Face is ugly. He suddenly opened the lock in the middle of the compartment. Inside was a brown-haired man with a terrible face curled up into a ball. Quick, give me the medicine. The man was thin, with hair like hay. A living skeleton. Here's the medicine, you go blow them up. Shen Sui hurriedly threw him a bag of flour from his pocket. The skinny man immediately poured it into his nose as if he was welcoming nectar after a long drought. Ah, there was a bright golden light in his eyes. Sleepy was startled. Hercules, run away, the nuclear man is about to explode. Not far away, Yi Ren's heart skipped a beat. Nuclear man. Self-destruct. Isn't that a nuclear explosion? Hercules turned his head and ran towards the car, crushed by his exaggerated figure. The teachers couldn't stop him at all. He is like a tank, rampage. Cool. The skinny man's face was full of distorted pleasure at this moment. His flesh. A sudden burst of blinding gold light. Shen Sleep took advantage of this moment to fully squeeze the accelerator, and the car rushed out. The Hercules picked up the skinny man. Throw him at the school like a javelin. Boom. The nuclear man maintained a frenzied expression, and exploded around the school like a small sun. Bright light and heat devoured everything. That moment, Yi Ren thought he was going to die. When the heat wave came, he found that not only was there no pain in his body. Instead, it ushered in an indescribable sense of comfort. Hearty, vividly, so cool that Yi Ren rolls his eyes and wants to go to heaven. When the roaring sound and the swaying heat wave gradually subsided, Yi Ren opened his eyes blankly. Everywhere you look. Broken, burnt black, patter. A piece of almost charred meat fell from the air. It flipped over at Yi Ren's feet a few times, and it was a head, the head of one of the teachers. He's dead, completely dead. ... Yi Ren's body was trembling slightly. Died. Those 10 or so teachers are all dead. None of them could leave a whole body, all were torn apart in the explosion. Yi Ren twisted his neck stiffly, like a robot. He looked at the school behind him. The school he was familiar with even a few minutes ago. Now it's a wreckage. The nuclear explosion directly destroyed most of the campus. On top of the black soil, some of the surviving students were crying and screaming. Some people lost their legs. Some people cough up blood continuously. There are also people who close their eyes forever. Gulu. Obviously, I have only been here for less than a day, and I haven't even been there for a day. Yi Ren clearly realizes that this is not the Earth he is familiar with. It's a cruel, new world. Wang Buchong, Li Fidao. Yi Ren was startled suddenly, and looked to the southeast. Even though they were separated by an extremely long distance, everything was clearly visible. Wang Buchong was crushed under a boulder. Already delirious. The king is not poor. Almost instinctively, Yi Ren ran over. The speed is so fast that there is an afterimage. There was a bang. That huge boulder weighed several tons. He was directly knocked out by Yi Ren. Yi Ren first glanced at his hands in shock. And then a short breath. Wang Buchong's lower body was crushed and covered the ground. Wang Buchong. You. Yi Ren wanted to say something, but found that he couldn't say anything. At this time, Yi Ren suddenly heard something. It was a crackling sound. He instinctively raised his head and found that it was a few middle-aged people in uniforms. Look at the badge on the collar on the chest, it is in the shape of a pill. Seal his pulse first and transfer him to the hospital. These are the people from the hospital and the special service. Wang Buchong, who was on the verge of death, quickly stabilized his vital signs after being slapped to seal his pulse by the doctor. With only half of his body left, he was carried on a stretcher. Doctor, will he get better? Yi Ren didn't know what kind of mood he was in to ask such a question. If this is on Earth, even if Wang Buchong survived, he would still be a disabled person. The doctor glanced at Yi Ren with a slightly surprised expression. Casualties were high here, but Yi Ren was unscathed. Could it be that he just ran over from somewhere else? Don't worry, as long as the person is not dead and there is only a head left, we can restore him to his original state. Hear the doctor's answer. Yi Ren felt relieved. As expected, this world is more powerful than he imagined. Hurry up. These are human lives. The doctor also has to save lives and heal the wounded. And a serious-faced man in a black and white uniform pressed Yi Ren's shoulder. He is the deputy director of the Special Bureau of City Y. Forest Giant Crocodile, a martial artist of the 4th stage of Kaiyang Control Boundary. His voice was deep and his eyes were as sharp as an eagle. You're the only one here who's still whole. Tell me what happened. What happened? Right. Yi Ren's pupils shrank, and he blurted out. There are 2, no. There are 3 aliens. They have superpowers. They have kidnapped a lot of people. Hear Yi Ren's answer. The man's face became more gloomy, and Yi Ren saw his other hand tightly clenched into a fist. Immediately blockade the entire city, and let me out of the special bureau. Then he asked Yi Ren about other specific matters, and ordered to track down the big van that had fled. The entire city is under full martial law. He also wants to leave here to hunt down those foreigners. Before leaving, he said to Yi Ren, if you don't feel well, go to the hospital and lie down overnight and they will give you a full checkup. Yi Ren saw more and more people with special circumstances appearing. All the people in common on the street should go home immediately after receiving the news, and don't interfere with the work of the Special Affairs Bureau. In just a few minutes, several nearby streets were completely cleared. And more areas are being screened at a rapid pace. Those supernatural beings can't run far. On the official car, Lin Jucroft calmly listened to the reports of his subordinates, and blocked the possible routes of the supernatural beings one by one. But after a few minutes, Lin Jucrocodile still didn't get any good news. Could it be that these supernatural beings left the city in such a short period of time? Impossible. Where did they hide? Bang bang bang, bang bang bang. Forest Bureau suddenly heard something, like someone knocking on the window. It wasn't just him who heard it. The subordinates are no exception. They turned their heads and saw a person running behind the car outside the window. While running, he knocked on the window. Quote. Director Lin subconsciously glanced at the dashboard. The speed is 50 kilometers per hour. Depend on. Is this still the speed that humans can run out of? The Bureau of Forestry remained calm on the surface. I was startled in my heart. There was a harsh squeaking sound from the brakes of the wheels, and Bureau Lin walked down with a gloomy expression. Just when he was about to yell at Yi Ren rushed to say, I know where those supernatural beings are. Someone the Special Service hasn't found yet. Do you know where they are? Forest Bureau instinctively showed suspicion, but Yi Ren said firmly, I know where they are. Exactly. Yi Ren heard it. After the nuclear explosion, he found that he could hear voices far away. How far it was, he himself did not know. Anyway, in this chaotic voice, Yi Ren heard the monitor's voice. You follow me, I will take you to find someone. After Yi Ren finished speaking, he ran up. Bureau Lin was in a daze. He wanted Yi Ren to get in the car with him. But he found out he was wrong. Where is this human? This is simply fly close to the ground. Stranger. But now Bureau Forest didn't have time to think too much, and ordered his subordinates to keep up with Yi Ren's speed. After a few minutes, Yi Ren stopped, panting and stretching his legs. Pale. Strangeness. You won't be so tired during the day, why do you feel so tired at night? He saw the Forest Bureau's car following up, wiped off his sweat, pointed to the abandoned warehouse in front of him and said, People should be inside. Bureau Lin and his subordinates looked at each other. The men drew their guns. Bureau Lin took out a tang dao more than half a meter long from the car with his backhand. If you have a gun, don't you use a knife? Yi Ren froze for a moment. But after thinking about it, I was relieved. The bullet is fast, but the action of pulling the trigger. Even a second-stage Dongming Jing warrior can easily recognize and respond. Unless you engage in a sneak attack from a distance. Otherwise, a martial artist with a double-hole mirror can really stage a frontal dodging bullet. As for Forest Bureau, a martial artist in the 4th stage of Kaiyang controlling boundary. It's even to the point where you can use the weapon to match your heart and hand, as if the weapon has become your third hand. Warriors of this rank have their own weapons. That is definitely a terrifying existence. You stay outside. Before Forest Bureau led his men in, he also told Yi Ren not to follow. But Yi Ren didn't listen. He was worried about the squad leader's situation, and he couldn't just wait outside. Yi Ren has only one thought. Rescue the squad leader. Sleepy and Hercules in the abandoned warehouse were all in disbelief at this moment. I thought this mission was easy. Unexpectedly, he underestimated the people of Longguo and almost capsized in the gutter. But it's okay. The group of children were all tied up. That school was also bombed. That should be the last time a nuclear power man blew himself up, right? TCH, are you worried about him? His stuff is just a one-time consumable. Hercules sighed. He raised the beer bottle in his hand, and poured tons of it while holding back his resentment. 2. Rather than worrying about the nuclear power man, it is better to worry about our situation. This city seems to have been sealed off. Shall we fight out tomorrow? I'll save it up, and I'll just sleep with them tomorrow. This factory has been abandoned for a long time. The air is dirty. There are small bugs and spider webs everywhere, and I feel itchy all over after sleeping. Now he just wants to go back to Country M to find a high-end hotel. Then get 2 blondes. Have a good night's sleep. This is the last bottle of wine. I said Hercules, among the Long Kingdom people we kidnapped, there are a few pretty girls. Are you a drug addict? I advise you to take a rest and escape from the city tomorrow. Sleepy licked his lips. Throw away the empty beer bottle in your hand. He looked at the big van not far away. Open the car door. Sure enough, the group of Dragon Kingdom people had already woken up. Just because I was injected with muscle relaxants, I couldn't resist. Hey. His obscene glances flickered. It finally fell on the squad leader, just when this guy was about to plot against the squad leader. Do it. Bureau Lin led his subordinates and pressed them out with a thunderous force. Yi Ren's eyes lit up. With this group of bosses in special situations, if nothing else. It was a surprise. Bang bang bang. The gunshot rang out suddenly, and the sleeping body staggered back. Bureau Lin held a tang saber. A chop slashed at the sleeping neck. But there was a sound of breaking through the air. A beer bottle smashed into Bureau Lin's temple at an even faster speed. He was forced to dodge sideways, and the knife also deviated from the angle, cutting on the sleeping chest. Shet. After taking several shots, he fell asleep after being hacked abruptly. Unexpectedly, she didn't die, but pulled the squad leader out of the carriage with a grim face, and strangled her neck. Don't come here, or I'll kill her. The physical fitness of these supernatural beings is far superior to that of ordinary people. And Shen Sui also wore a special body armor. The bullet was cushioned by the body armor, and it didn't even break his skin. It was Lin Bureau's knife that made him feel a sharp pain in his body. This group of Dragon Kingdom people. Sleepy gritted her teeth. The Hercules not far away expanded into a small titan again. The wine bottle just now was thrown at Bureau Lin in his desperation, under the blessing of his exaggerated strength. The power of that wine bottle is comparable to a small missile. Give up resistance, you still have a chance. Lin Biao flicked Tang Dao with a gloomy expression. Just stand still, then let Shen Sleep's whole body tense up. This Dragon Kingdom man in front of him definitely has the ability to kill him with one blow. But, I have a bomb in the car. Once we die, the bomb will explode and all these children will die. At this moment, everyone's faces became extremely ugly. I can let them go, but as a condition, Shen Sleep suddenly let out a scream. It turned out that she was the squad leader who was holding her hostage, but she tore a piece of flesh from his hand in one gulp, and took advantage of his distraction due to pain. A precise kick landed on the sleeping crotch. Everyone heard the sound of chickens flying and eggs beating. Now, Bureau Lin's eyes lit up, but at this moment, a figure suddenly jumped out from the side, so fast that the Forest Bureau could barely see the outline. That's Yi Ren. Stay away from her. Like a train, Yi Ren shattered his sleeping body with the help of speed. That's right. It shattered like a firework exploding. In an instant, all that was left of the complete human body was a splash of blood and small pieces of flesh. It fell to the ground crackling. There was a bang. Yi Ren couldn't stop the car, and his whole body was deeply embedded in the wall. Pooh! He opened his mouth and spat out a tooth and sticky blood. The blood is his. The tooth is the sleeping one that has become minced meat. Vomit. Feeling tired and weak in the body, Yi Ren even found it difficult to move his fingers. This feeling, it's like the phone's battery has dropped to 1% and will be turned off at any time. Quote. Everyone is dumbfounded. Forest Bureau. All warriors of the Special Bureau, including Hercules. Everyone opened their mouths blankly, with an expression of wanting to pull out their eyeballs. Just, what happened? Someone couldn't help asking in a low voice. In this dead and abandoned factory, his voice reached everyone's ears. That boy, the foreigner, was directly smashed into pieces. What kind of scary picture is this? We all know that the effect of force is mutual. Is that boy okay? Yi Ren was half kneeling on the ground, panting heavily. Vertigo. He couldn't help but fall to the ground at any time. Frank. After a brief silence, the Hercules felt grief from his heart. His companion died just like that. Grief engulfed his sanity. He knew that there was a high probability that he would not be able to get out of here alive. So, let's all die together. Forest Bureau's expression changed. The abandoned factory has a narrow space and a large number of discarded parts. Most of the subordinates are second-stage warriors. Go to hell. Hercules slap. He directly sent a martial artist in a special situation flying a full 7 or 8 meters away. Finally, it hit the hard load-bearing wall and made a clicking sound. Judging by the appearance, there is a high probability that he will not survive. Exit after 3 paragraphs or less. Bureau Lin's eyes were about to burst. The young man who died was called Li Zie. He was only 24 years old this year, and he was very popular in the Bureau. Although he is a child of a single-parent family, he is positive and optimistic and always puts a smile on everyone's face. Bureau Lin has always admired him. Even his daughter asked for his WeChat account. But it was such a young man. Now I close my eyes forever. A real person just disappeared. Drooling and rolling his eyes, the collapsed Hercules rampaged through the factory. Even Bureau Lin didn't dare to get too close to him. Because Hercules has the ability to kill with one blow, once caught by him, there will only be death. In the blink of an eye, the factory was dilapidated, with signs of fragmentation everywhere. The pistol can't break through the defense of Hercules at all. Level 3 warriors dare not fight him in close quarters. Only the Forestry Bureau, relying on weapons, barely contended with it. But this goes on. Hercules suddenly changed his target and rushed towards the big van. To die together. He wants to kill these children first. You dare. Bureau Lin's expression changed, and he slashed at the top of the Hercules' head. With a clatter, a golden light appeared on the blade, and a small gap appeared. The shock force made Lin Juzhen's hands numb. The body froze for a moment in the air. Hercules jumped at the chance. He grabbed Lin Ju's right leg, and then it was like tearing apart a toy. He wanted to tear the Bureau of Forestry into 2 halves. The scary thing is, he really has the strength. Rank 4 fighters are also mortals, but Hercules can even bend steel plates. Seeing that the Forestry Bureau is about to be divided into 2 parts. Hello, Hercules just heard the voice. The next moment, I felt a piercing pain. From the crotch straight to the forehead. Ah! It turned out that it was after barely recovering some strength. Yi Ren who stepped forward again. 20 years of kung fu for this punch. Can your fool hold it back? Obviously, Hercules couldn't stop it. His huge body lay down, and his white eyes were bloodshot. He trembled. The corners of the mouth kept drooling. Quote. Yi Ren's chest rose and fell rapidly. It's almost the limit. Small, be careful. At this time Yi Ren heard the monitor's voice. He turned his head. Seeing the squad leader's little face covered with dust, there was an unusual expression. She is. Are you worried about me? The next moment, Yi-Ren suddenly groaned and stood upside down. It turned out that the Hercules grabbed his calf and lifted him up. This. Fact squid. Hercules endured severe egg pain. Arm muscles tense. He wants to tear Yi-Ren to shreds. Pain. The only thing Yi-Ren can perceive. There is only pain. It's going to split. The body is really going to split. Let him go. The squad leader is just a second-tier warrior. Hercules can crush her with a single slap, which is truly crushing. The kind that doesn't leave a whole body behind. But when the squad leader showed an angry face, the temperature of the air around her was rising rapidly. If someone is hanging around here with a radiometer right now, you will definitely find that the radiation index is soaring crazily. The heat swept through. Under the squad leader's fair skin, the light of gold is gradually shining. Moon shadow slash. Sudden. A burst of anger. A piece of silver light. An afterimage. Everything fell silent. Hercules, body like a small titan, suddenly fell down, and a tang knife pierced his left eye socket. Half of the tip of the knife pierced out from the back of the head. It's over. Yi-Ren relaxed, and the world in front of him fell into darkness. I don't know how long it has been. Yi-Ren woke up in a daze. It's so pungent. What's the smell? The indescribable taste, mixed together, seemed to smash one's nose. Yi-Ren's expression twisted together in an instant. Not just the taste. And sound. Densely packed, countless voices mixed together. Even covering your ears won't help. At this moment, Yi-Ren had the illusion that his brain was going to burn out. There was too much information. Can't handle it at all. But at this moment, he suddenly heard a familiar voice. How is the child? It was the voice of the Forest Bureau. When Yi-Ren found himself concentrating on listening to this voice, other sounds faded. This made him feel a little better. Outside the corridor, Bureau Lin is talking to the doctor about this. Old Lin, this child, is not simple. His body hardness is far beyond ordinary people. At the beginning, I couldn't even pierce his skin with a needle, and I managed to pierce it with force. Having such a constitution that is different from ordinary people, I think he is probably a unique martial arts genius. Yi-Ren also found the doctor's voice familiar. Isn't this the doctor who saved Wang Buchong with a slap? From the looks of it, he and Bureau Lin still knew each other. Martial arts prodigy. Wei Minmin, this kid smashed a supernatural being. Smashed, do you understand? Anyway, Lao Lin, this kid has an abnormal constitution. You must train him well. Yi-Ren blinked on the hospital bed. Martial arts prodigy. Also. How is Li Ziye? Don't worry, old Lin, he will be able to get out of bed and walk in a few days. It's a pity. The slap of the Hercules shattered Li Ziye's spine. Although with the efforts of the doctor, Li Ziye does not need to be a vegetable. But I'm afraid I won't be able to practice martial arts for the rest of my life. At this time Yi-Ren heard footsteps, and then Bureau Lin and the doctor opened the door and walked in. Son, how do you feel? Is there any discomfort in your body? Dr. Wei's eyes are very kind. Seeing Yi-Ren felt a little uncomfortable. Doctor, what's wrong with me? Well, your body is very good, it's a bit too good. After doing some examinations, Dr. Wei left. The Bureau of Forestry was left to look at Yi-Ren with admiration. This child, it is indeed a talent. The two supernatural beings are dead, and you killed one of them, Comrade Yi-Ren, you are very good. Speaking of this, Yi-Ren remembered that after that person was crushed by himself. I accidentally ate his teeth. Are you going to be 18 soon? Have you decided which university to apply for? Yi-Ren understood. The Bureau of Forestry is trying to get close to him. Your constitution is very special. A martial arts prodigy like you shouldn't be buried. As he spoke, Bureau Lin patted Yi-Ren on the shoulder. Do you want to go to Qinglong Academy in the capital? I can write you a letter of introduction. In the capital, Qinglong Academy. Yi-Ren was taken aback. The four best universities in Dragon Kingdom are Qinglong College in the capital and Vermilion Bird College, as well as Xuanwu and Baihu colleges in provinces Y and J. These four universities have produced countless high-level powerhouses, and they are the top training institutes in the Dragon Kingdom. Most people want to be admitted to these four colleges. Not to mention liberal arts grades. At least one has to become a warrior of the third stage Yaoguang stepping into the sky before the age of 18. But I'm only a paragraph. Yi Ren said with a bitter face. Speaking of this, the Forestry Bureau also felt strange. It stands to reason that Yi Ren is a martial arts prodigy. In any case, it must be 3 paragraphs and 4 paragraphs. Why is it only 1 paragraph? Well, don't worry, I believe in your potential, take a good rest first, this is my WeChat, please add it. Then I thank you in advance. Yi Ren is not stupid, he can see that Forestry Bureau wants to invest in him. In case I become a boss in the future, Forest Bureau will be rewarded handsomely, if Yi Ren is willing. By the way, Bureau Lin, my monitor. Don't worry, all the kidnapped people are unscathed, it's just your school. Mentioning this, Bureau Lin's expression became uneasy. Many teachers died and many students were disabled. This group of supernatural beings. Yi Ren also clenched his fists. In this world, the relationship between countries is very tense, and they are in a state of war all year round. But there is one thing that makes Yi Ren feel a little relieved. This world, no nuclear weapons were born. Think about it carefully, Comrade Yi Ren, if you want to go to Qinglong Academy, please send me a message. After Bureau Lin left, Yi Ren also left the hospital. Schools have been cordoned off and are being rebuilt. The Special Affairs Bureau provides temporary housing for students like Yi Ren. Apartment, are the benefits so good? Yi Ren thought that the place where he lived temporarily should be very simple. But I didn't expect it to be a high-end apartment. He does not know. This was specifically ordered by the Forest Bureau. Martial arts wizards have to be treated specially. And a computer, free. Yi Ren pulled out the chair, skillfully opened the browser and entered. Search for Superman. The next moment, Yi Ren showed a surprised expression. Actually, no, how could there be no? This world, there are no Superman movies or comics. Not just Superman. Yi Ren searched, Batman, Aquaman. No, not even DC and Marvel. Yi Ren swallowed, and he leaned back a little stiffly, staring at the ceiling blankly. Then there should be no kryptonite in this world, right? No, my golden finger, is it really a superhuman ability? Yi Ren thought about it, and went to open the curtain again. The sun shines on the surface of his body, and he takes a deep breath. Cool, it feels like every cell is jumping for joy. Energy is pouring into the body. Without a system, Yi Ren doesn't know whether he is a Superman or not, but as far as the current situation is concerned. 9 out of 10. Yi Ren narrowed his eyes comfortably, and wanted to open the window too. The result was a bang. The window was shattered and Yi Ren was in a hurry. The anti-theft bar was torn off again. That thing is the anti-theft bar welded together. Hollow steel pipe. Yi Ren himself was taken aback. He licked his lips and turned his gaze to the table. A table plus a computer screen weighs tens of kilograms, right? Yi Ren found that he could lift it with 2 fingers. How strong is my strength now? After gaining strength, Yi Ren had so much fun, he even accidentally removed the toilet door. However, the increase in strength is not all a good thing. Yi has to be careful not to damage other things. This is a temporary residence, and you will lose money if you break something. And the saddest thing about Yi Ren, it is he who has no money. I have this strength, so I can't go to the construction site to move bricks. Bah, I have become a Superman. How can I move bricks? Yi Ren wanted to slap himself. But just think about it. He found that he really had no other way to make money. How about, shall I go and rob the bank? He had a bold idea. After playing for a while, Yi Ren was lying on the mattress that he accidentally tore down. Staring blankly at the ceiling. I am Superman. Every time he thinks of this, he can't help but laugh. According to Yi Ren's memory, Superman basked in the sun on Earth for more than 20 years. It became so powerful. Superman's power comes from the sun. Should I go to the rooftop to bask in the sun? Soon, a young man covered in naked fruit appeared on the rooftop. Like a dried salted fish. Turn over from time to time. Ah, so cool. For Yi Ren, there is nothing more relaxing than basking in the sun. At this time, Hu family martial arts. The monitor was discharged earlier than Yi Ren. She sat on the chair with no expression on her face, but there was a hint of anxiety in the depths of her eyes. Soon, the door was pushed open, and a middle-aged man in exercise clothes walked in. "Father," the squad leader yelled at the middle-aged man. The man nodded, but he looked at the squad leader with an expression that didn't look like a father should have. That look, it seems to be looking at the same tool. "You didn't reveal it, did you?" The squad leader shook his head. "No." "Very well, you have a special purpose for tissue culture, and it's not time to expose it, so stretch out your hand." Hear this sentence. The anxiety in the squad leader's eyes became more urgent. She stretched out her white arms. The man threw her 2 vials of Green's potion and a disposable syringe. "This is the inhibitor of the month." "Yes, father." In front of the man, she injected one of the green potions into her body. At this point, the squad leader breathed a sigh of relief. "Control your emotions and don't let the organization waste resources on you." "Yes, father." The squad leader returned to his expressionless state, as indifferent as a robot. She cannot have mood swings. Otherwise, a week passed in the blink of an eye. Yi Ren pursed his lips and was still sighing when he came out of the bathroom. "Why don't you feel angry?" He still failed to break through to the level of energy training in the second section of the cave. But Yi Ren's eyes were fixed, and a fly flying 4 or 5 meters away suddenly slowed down in his field of vision. It's as if Yi Ren has entered the world of slow motion. But his own speed remained unchanged. The speed of the fly's flight in the air was close to static. Yi Ren stepped forward to pinch it in 2 steps. Then bounced out the window. Boom! A hole the size of a pinky finger appeared in the window. Hiss! My window. This is definitely going to cost money again. Yi Ren showed a distressed expression. Even after a week, he still couldn't control his power perfectly. After getting dressed, Yi Ren is back at school, and in this week, the school that was blown up by the nuclear men has been rebuilt. I have to say that the efficiency is really high. Today, it is the day of the college entrance examination. That's right, the final actual combat assessment last time was just a simulation, and today is the day that will change the fate of countless young people. The college entrance examination in this world is different from the earth Yi Ren stayed on before. Liberal arts does not have such a heavy proportion. The key is the own strength as a warrior. Only with good grades in the martial arts examination can one make great strides forward at the fork in life. Either go to a bright future, or disappear from everyone. So this way, Yi Ren saw that many young people looked preoccupied. But he doesn't care. Let's not say that my own strength should be able to beat my peers. Behind him is the Forestry Bureau who can help write letters of recommendation. It's like grounding a plane with poor breasts, steady. But others are different. For example, Wang Buchong and Li Fidao, they came to the examination room early, looking sad. Yemu, are you going to send it? Chapter 11. Ah, Yi Ren froze for a moment. I sent it. Why did I send it? Li Fidao sighed, seeing Yi Ren's unconcerned look. I thought Yi Ren had given up. He patted Yi Ren on the shoulder. It's okay, brother, it's good to let go of your mind, just take the exam. At worst, you can repeat it for another year. Yi Ren looked puzzled. However, seeing that Wang Buchong had recovered quite well, he was also amazed. You must know that Wang Buchong's entire lower body was turned into scum at that time. Now it can jump and jump. The level of medical care in this world seems to be far superior to that of the Earth. Is the monitor not here yet? Yi Ren scanned the examination room, but did not see the monitor. You're still worried about the squad leader. It is said that he has broken through the 3rd stage of Yaoguang stepping into the sky, and the college entrance examination is stable. Wang Buchong said with envy and hope. Such talent. It's really enviable and jealous. There is a girl named Wang Xiaoxiao in the class who was shining brightly because of Yi Ren in the final exam a week ago. So I have a good impression of Yi Ren. She hesitated for a moment, then leaned over and said to Yi Ren. Yi Ren, have you had breakfast yet? Yi Ren blinked. Yi Ren has no impression of this plain-looking girl. Have eaten. Oh, the girl looked at Yi Ren with some embarrassment. Neither of them seemed to know what to say to ease the atmosphere. Finally, the girl spoke again. Well, have you broken through the 2nd stage? If Yi Ren has broken through to the 2nd tier, then he is worth making friends with. Unfortunately, Yi Ren shook his head. The girl clearly showed disappointment in her eyes. If it is still a paragraph, then there is no need to waste time on Yi Ren. I thought he was a talent for defeating Xiang Bing a week ago. Pity. Okay, then I wish you success in the college entrance examination. The attitude of the girls is obviously alienated. Yi Ren didn't care either. He even wanted to say, "Who do you send it to?" After the girl turned her head and left, she turned around and ran to Xiang Bing's side. After a while, I chatted enthusiastically with him with a smile on my face. Not just her. Besides Xiang Bing, Yingying and Yanyan surrounded half of the girls in the class. All because of Xiang Bing announced in his circle of friends yesterday that he had successfully broken through to the third stage of Yaoguang stepping into the sky. That's why these girls chatted with him so enthusiastically. TCH, so snobbish. Both Wang Buchong and Li Fidao showed contemptuous expressions. Turning around, he began to comfort Yi Ren again. It's okay bro, the squad leader looks better than her with his glasses off. Yi Ren slowly made a question mark. 2. The squad leader has been wearing those big rustic black-rimmed glasses, if she takes them off. Hiss, it should be pretty, right? As time passed, the invigilating teachers gradually arrived. One of them was the teacher of the previous mock exam. After seeing Yi Ren, he came over to ask a question, and found out that Yi Ren was still a martial artist. An expression of regret was evident. A paragraph, that's really, oh. Yi Ren shrugged. You must know that the martial arts assessment of the college entrance examination is not as simple as simply reporting data. There are various specialized testing instruments. All of them were developed by the state with a lot of money, and they are rarely seen in normal times, only in some special places. And only on important occasions like the college entrance examination, it will be taken out. Moreover, among martial artists, the same rank is also divided into strengths and weaknesses. Those instruments can comprehensively judge the limit of a warrior, and thus give different scores. The full score is 300, I don't ask for much, just give me 200. Wang Bugui was still thinking about it. You're still being greedy. I only need a score of 150, and it's okay to take the second exam. Li Fidao clasped his hands together. As the preparatory bell rang, everyone breathed nervously. Only Yi Ren. He looked like he hadn't woken up yet, and even yawned. The sun is very bright today, and it is really comfortable to bask in the sun. Let's not talk about the previous liberal arts assessment. Yi Ren coped with it carelessly. Here comes the main event. Candidates, please go to the examination room in different areas according to your admission ticket. There are many candidates, so the exam is divided into many areas. Quite a coincidence. Wang Bugui, Li Fidao, Xiang Bing and Yi Ren were all in the same examination room. Hey, Xiang Bing folded his arms, the opportunity came. You made me so ashamed last time. Now, it's time for revenge. If nothing unexpected, I should go to Hongwudi Medical College in the capital. As for you, tisk, it should be another year of study, right? Yi Ren faced Xiang Bing's cynicism. He just rolled his eyes. On the contrary, Wang Buchong and Li Fidao wanted to support Yi Ren, but they were stopped by Yi Ren. Let him keep barking, Emperor Hongwu Medical College. That's all he has ambitions for. Hongwudi Medical College is a first-class university. Although it is not as good as the 4 major academies, it is also the university that countless warriors dream of. Xiang Bing sneered twice. I really don't know how you have the guts to talk to me like this, you trash. The gap between us is already too great. Poor boy. When I was getting stronger in Hongwu Emperor Academy, you were still humbly repeating my studies. Yi Ren scratched his ears. That ignoring attitude made Xiang Bing even more angry. With the martial arts assessment officially started, the atmosphere is getting better. Yi Ren glanced at his admission ticket number. Row this far, then you won't be able to play as the finale. Martial arts examination. There are many special instruments used to judge the ultimate ability of warriors in an all-round way. An example is an instrument for detecting a reaction. An instrument for measuring strength. Through a variety of methods, to test the limits of each warrior in the most practical way possible. Xiang Bing has to undergo an assessment than Yi Ren. Before going up, he also pointed the middle finger at Yi Ren defiantly. Candidate Xiang Bing, right. How long is it? 3 sections. Teacher Wu Jie, who invigilated the exam, was stunned for a moment, and then showed a surprised expression. 3-stage Yaoguang stepping empty warrior. This is not common among college entrance examination candidates, everyone is a talent. The teacher's expression became kinder. After he debugged the instrument. Stand in a pressure chamber, and this machine will continue to pressurize your body to the limit you can bear. A martial artist who has been in the Yinyuan body refining realm will make the physical body tougher. As the cultivation base advances, after each period, the flesh will go one step further. This machine can test whether the basic skills are solid enough. Start releasing the stress now. Soon, Xiangbing turned grim. The surface of his body turned red, like a boiled prawn. The invigilator looked at the numbers on the instrument thoughtfully and nodded. 92. Not bad, 8 points is close to full marks. Next is the sphere response test. Dodge the sphere as much as you can, and those who get hit will get points deducted. The sphere projected by the instrument is not the real thing. It's some kind of light-sensing technology. At the beginning, the frequency was not high, and Xiangbing could easily dodge it. Until the speed at which the light-sensitive balls are emitted becomes faster and faster, and there are more and more at the same time. He obviously couldn't keep up with the reaction. He was in a cold sweat, and heard harsh beeps frequently. 68. A total of 32 hits were made. In the end, the teacher shook his head and showed regretful eyes. Duan Dongming Qi training state, it is about a steady mind and a clear eye. Your physical fitness is good, but your reaction is a bit. Xiangbing clicked his tongue. An impatient look on his face. The next test, the strength test, is easy. Let's try our best against this steel. It doesn't matter if it's a fist, a leg, or even a headbutt. But Xiangbing swallowed. In front of him was a big rock taller than a person. The surface is also uneven. If he punches hard, his fist won't suffer, will he? Teacher, shouldn't it be sandbags or something? The invigilator raised his eyebrows. The expression became a little unhappy. Xiangbing didn't dare to talk anymore. He took a deep breath and gritted his teeth. Fight. Aha. Use qi to stimulate force, and gather the strength of the whole body from the waist. Finally punched out. There was a muffled bang. Xiangbing gritted his teeth so as not to let out a scream. Blood flowed from the fist. Qi penetrated through the surface of the steel. The teacher glanced at the numbers above. 98. The displeased expression on his face turned into a smile. Not bad. 2 good sounds, sonorous and powerful. Xiangbing also smiled happily, and even forgot the pain in his hand. The total score is 258, which is very excellent. Really, this result is enough to be called excellent. But it's not over yet. Invigilator said, I'll give you a choice now, because you successfully broke through to the 3rd stage of Yaoguang stepping into the sky before the college entrance examination. You can get 50 extra points straight away, or take an extra test, results to be determined. Xiangbing swallowed. Either get 50 points directly, or get an extra 100 points for another exam. I lost too many points for my reaction speed. I have to make up for it. At this time, Xiangbing saw Yi Ren looking at him. His mind became hot. Test, must test. The invigilator started the new instrument. He also has some emotion. Unexpectedly, there is such a talented candidate as Xiangbing in a small place like City Y. This new instrument has higher precision. Fly as high as you can after you hear the beep. Yaoguang stepped into the sky. Warriors at this stage can use their strength to use their strength. For example, if you step on the doorknob, the whole person flies several meters away, and the character has the ability to glide. Fly up. Xiangbing licked his lips, feeling a little guilty in his heart. But there are so many people around watching. He gritted his teeth. I'm ready. A normal 3rd level fighter can jump about 6 meters upwards on flat ground, and some of them are very powerful. It can even break through 10 meters occasionally. What is this concept? You can jump up to the 3rd and 4th floors directly on the spot. Xiangbing tried his best. Hey, everyone exclaimed. He jumped about 3 meters. 80. For this result, Xiangbing thought it was okay. With a smile on his face, he accepted the congratulations from the invigilator. Congratulations, your total score is 338, which should be in the top 50 in your City Y. Hear this. Xiangbing grinned from ear to ear. The classmates I knew around me also showed envious eyes. For a while, Xiangbing was surrounded by people like stars holding the moon. He enjoys everyone's praise and flattery. Congratulations, brother Xiangbing. Such a good result is not easy. Wang Xiaoxiao said softly. With a slightly ambiguous look in his eyes, Xiangbing's heart became hot for a while. At this time, Yi Ren heard the invigilator calling himself. Next candidate, Yi Ren. Yi Ren, who had been itching for a long time, responded and walked over. Bear soldiers surrounded by crowd. At this moment, the corner of his mouth twitched, revealing a contemptuous expression. But soon, he will know what it means to fall from the clouds to the abyss. Originally, Yi Ren was just a warrior. It stands to reason that he doesn't have much attention, but Xiangbing just brought people over to ridicule him. It perfectly interprets what is called yin and yang weirdness. Come on, let's all see what amazing results this brother Yi can get in the exam. Wang Xiaoxiao pouted. What good grades can he get in the exam? People around also became interested, but after the teacher finished reading Yi Ren's materials, he frowned. Are you still a Yinyuan mirror? After more than 10 years of physical training, you still haven't been able to break through. Well, Yi Ren was noncommittal. Seeing his embarrassing expression, Xiangbing couldn't help but bark. Only then did the onlookers understand. Good guy. It turned out that Xiangbing came to laugh at this man. But yes, a section of warriors take the college entrance examination. Isn't that equivalent to handing in a blank paper, and the results must be the bottom of the bottom? The teacher waved his hand in disinterest. He has no intention of wasting energy on something like Yi Ren. After casually fiddling with the instrument, come in, the speed is settled and let the next candidate come. Yi Ren pouted. What kind of teacher is this? He has no morality at all. And the group of idiots watching the joke next did. I'll let you know what a real genius is in a moment. After standing in the pressure chamber, Yi Ren was still a little curious. After about 30 seconds, Yi Ren was a little stunned. He knocked on the metal casing. Well, can we start? The teacher who was flipping through the list was stunned for a moment. Haven't I already started? Etc. It's been half a minute, why hasn't the machine stopped yet? It seems that Xiangbing only persisted for about 20 seconds. Isn't there going to be a malfunction? The invigilator became nervous. The machine will detect the vital signs of the people inside. Ensure that the machine will automatically stop and apply pressure when the people inside are at the limit. He wiped the cold sweat off his brow and checked it quickly. No problem. The switch is on and the pressure is still slowly increasing. It's been more than half a minute. It stands to reason that he has reached the level of a third-level warrior. Don't you feel it? The teacher saw Yi Ren staring at himself in the inside. Can't help but ask. Yi Ren shook his head wonderingly. How can he feel? Is it a bit itchy nose? You come out first, maybe the machine is malfunctioning. Originally, Xiangbing's face had become ugly now. Hear the teacher's words. He breathed a sigh of relief as if he had found a savior. There must be something wrong, otherwise how could he persist for so long? You see, his skin didn't turn red. But after the invigilator checked the machine carefully, it confuses him even more. The machine is fine, he can only ask Yi Ren to test it again. This time he didn't dare to be distracted, and stared at the machine intently. The pressure begins. After half a minute passed, Xiangbing swallowed. When 1 minute was over, the invigilator was already shocked. When the 2 minutes were exactly, the machine automatically popped open the door. 100. The numbers on the machine are so dazzling. The shocked onlookers were completely silent. In dead silence, a candidate with a score of only 46 asked in a low voice. Is he really a warrior? His voice. It's like a fuse that makes people argue with each other. What is the concept of 100 points? Have any of you heard of it? I seem to have only seen it in the news. He stayed in the pressure chamber for 2 minutes. My God, I felt like my body was going to shatter in just 15 seconds. For a while, Yi Ren became the object of discussion among everyone. Xiangbing remained silent with a livid face. The teacher touched Yi Ren's arm in astonishment. Tough and resilient. After bearing the pressure of the pressure chamber for a full 2 minutes, there was not even a trace of adverse reaction. Top physical fitness. Young man, you are a prodigy in martial arts. The invigilator cheered up. It's a coincidence. At this time, a leader of the education system in other provinces She happened to come to City Y to do some business, so she stopped by to inspect the examination room after finishing her work. Although she came quietly, but everyone still spotted her at a glance. Why, she is so dazzling, like a star in the dark night, twinkling and twinkling cannot be ignored. It was a woman, but she is a stunning woman. About 27 or 8 years old, slender and tall. She was wearing a long black trench coat, and her beautiful long hair hung down to her waist. A delicate face that is almost coquettish, fair skin, deep black eyes, and a tall nose bridge. Obviously no powder is applied. It's breathtakingly beautiful. The majestic aura emanating from her made the candidates subconsciously hold their breath. Yi Ren's gaze locked on her long, straight legs. Black silk, great, even better with heels. The invigilator saw the woman. He hurriedly stepped forward to salute with fists in his hands, and shouted respectfully. Mr. Yu, hello. Calling him Mr. is an expression of respect and an affirmation of his status and identity. Mr. Yu nodded slightly. His gaze passed through the crowd and landed on Yi Ren. Interesting. This boy is different from others. No one else dared to look into their eyes, and each of them lowered their heads in panic. Only him. A pair of eyes staring straight at himself. Legs. Well, Yi Ren quickly looked away after he was found peeping. Mr. Yu. This is the woman's name. Judging from the respectful attitude of the invigilator towards her, she must be a very remarkable person. You don't have to worry about me, just keep taking the exam. Mr. Yu's beautiful eyes scanned the numbers on the machine. Also slightly surprised, she didn't leave immediately, but stopped and watched. Being watched by such a beautiful and temperamental lady. Yi Ren was also shocked. Good. Make it big. Yi Ren at this time can be said to be the center of attention. Almost everyone's eyes were on him. The teacher waved his hand to signal Yi Ren to start. This item, he was the warrior who was supposed to test the energy level of the Erdogan cave. By avoiding the photosensitive ball, test the warrior's extreme reaction speed and mentality against the enemy. The light-sensitive ball will continue to fire for 5 minutes. The frequency and speed of launching will gradually increase, and the person with the best score so far. He is a skinny guy who has achieved an astonishing score of 91. Yi Ren made an OK gesture. Drop. The photosensitive ball shot out, drawing a clear trace in the air. Wrong. Mr. Yu frowned. This speed is obviously too fast, and the light-sensitive ball should not have such an initial velocity at the beginning. The invigilator also found this out. Cold sweat broke out on his head. It turned out that he accidentally set the wrong mode just now. The invigilator wanted to stop the test immediately. But unexpectedly, Yi Ren turned his head to avoid the light sensor ball. Judging by the relaxed and comfortable appearance, it seems that he has not yet become serious. Mr. Yu gestured. Interesting. How is this boy behaving? It's like farting a lighter. It is eye-catching. The invigilator stopped the action of turning off the phone, and let the photosensitive ball continue to fire. Just tens of seconds passed. The other students found themselves unable to keep up with the speed of the sphere. They all rubbed their eyes and exclaimed, "Is this a little too fast? I didn't seem to be so fast when I took the exam just now. This has clearly surpassed the limit of the second stage of the cave's energy training. Even if I concentrate all my attention, I can't see the ball clearly." No, shouldn't the problem be that he didn't get hit even once? The onlookers opened their mouths wide. It was like seeing a ghost. At this time, the photosensitive ball is shooting like a pea shooter. For a while, everyone could only see afterimages that filled the screen. But Yi Ren was in this chaotic afterimage, dodging the photoreceptor ball with the slightest movement like a stroll. Every time it's just passing by. It's more exciting than tightrope walking. Mr. Yu tilted his head slightly, a gleam of appreciation flashed in his beautiful eyes, and his delicate lips opened slightly. Surprising reaction. The invigilator was also dumbfounded. At this time, Yi Ren had persisted for 4 minutes. At this last minute, the photosensitive ball seemed to fire 20 pieces in an instant. From different angles, the direction Yi Ren can avoid is completely locked. But these 20 photosensitive balls have a slight delay. Only with the most accurate response can the test be completed under such double teaming. Wow, there was an exclamation. No one can hide from such a dense photoreceptor ball, right? Just when the invigilator thinks so too. He saw Yi Ren's eyes. Suddenly it was different. Call. Yi Ren's pupils shrank into needles in an instant. This shows that he has entered the full concentration mode, and Yi Ren's speed has suddenly increased significantly. In the perspective of others, Yi Ren suddenly turned into a vague shadow. But in Yi Ren's perspective, everything entered a slow motion state, only he himself maintained the original speed. These 20 photosensitive balls seem to be unavoidable. But Yi Ren stands out from the grid like double teaming with a slight difference in the limit. The instrument stopped. Drip drip. 100. Everyone couldn't help but swallowed, looking at this unbelievable score in a daze. Yi Ren touched his forehead. Hey, I'm sweating. Yi Ren also knows that he is not invincible like Superman in the movie Man of Steel. It is estimated that the time in the sun is too short. Still in a vigorous growth stage. Thanks to that nuclear guy from the other day. The energy he produced when he blew himself up is the same as the energy of the sun, which is a nuclear fusion reaction. Otherwise, it really needs to be exposed to the sun slowly. Yi Ren estimates that it will take several years to reach this level. It's wonderful. There was applause. Yi Ren turned his head to look. It turned out that it was Mr. Yu who was applauding. This mature and hot big sister, Yi Ren, was seen blushing. Average. Average. Yi Ren waved his hand modestly. After taking a few breaths, his breathing returned to regularity and calmness, and Mr. Yu still had a panoramic view of this scene. It exploded at the ghostly speed just now. As a result, it took less than a few seconds to adjust his breathing. This kid, really not bad. The more Mr. Yu saw Yi Ren, the more he liked him, and he wanted to ask him directly if he wanted to be his apprentice. You must know that Mr. Yu is notoriously picky. So that it has been so long. There is not a single apprentice who looks good. Yi Ren also looked away at this time, and could no longer stare at Mr. Yu, a beautiful big sister. Otherwise, the mind will fly to strange places. 2 full marks. This guy is like a heifer flying on a plane. The bull sea is in the sky. When did we have such a powerful warrior in City? Why haven't we heard of it before? I'm so envious. Among the whispers of the crowd, Yi Ren is ready for the 3rd exam. The simplest. Strength test. What is the most important foundation of a warrior? Strength. A stage of body training and a second stage of chi training, these two are the foundation of the foundation. Come on, you are facing this stone tablet, use your energy to push your strength. Hit it with all your strength. Yi Ren nodded. The surface of the steel was rough and stained with a lot of blood, and just now Xiangbing broke it with his own fist. Many warriors will subconsciously withdraw their efforts when they see this steel. But Yi Ren pondered. I should be, all right. The man of steel can't reach it at present, but the hardness may be better than that of stone. Just when Yi Ren raised his fist, Mr. Yu suddenly spoke. Her hot Yuji voice with a hint of hoarseness. Listening to Yi Ren's heart itch. There are skills in exerting force. 9 points out and 1 point in. Force must be transparent and not superficial. Be transparent. These 3 words are the key. Many examinees had bright eyes or thoughtful expressions. Especially Xiangbing. He slapped his thigh. I understand. Ouch, my way of exerting force is completely wrong, otherwise the score could be even higher. Xiangbing had a remorseful expression on his face. In order to satisfy his vanity, he met Wang Xiaoxiao's eyes and continued. The human body is definitely no better than a rock. If we confront it head-on, we will be the ones who suffer. However, after we broke through the Qi training realm of the second stage hole, we can already perceive and control the existence of Qi. So our way of exerting force should be to exert energy in a penetrating and transparent form. Instead of using breath force, use brute force. Exquisite. Is a smart words. After hearing Xiangbing's explanation, the invigilator couldn't help showing admiration. Yes, the human body is always weak. Therefore, one must use skills to penetrate the energy through the body and penetrate into the inside of the steel, only in this way can he get a high score. But, Yi Ren made a confused sound. It's easy to say. But my mother's is just a paragraph, and I can't feel Qi, let alone say anything to stimulate strength. Ha ha ha, he's just a warrior, it's impossible for him to get a high score in this event. Xiangbing smiled happily, like a blooming old chrysanthemum. Yi Ren's 2 full marks in front already made him jealous. Now, He was going to mock Yi Ren severely. A paragraph. Mr. Yu narrowed his beautiful eyes. There are also some martial artists with partial talents in this world. Could it be that Yi Ren is one of them? Has a stronger body and reflexes, but can't feel chi. The upper limit is too low. Well, Mr. Yu sighed, just when she was a little disappointed. Suddenly saw Yi Ren raised his fist. Slammed towards the steel. There is no skill, let alone any use of energy to stimulate strength, just holding fists and being reckless. Quote. Mr. Yu couldn't help the corners of his eyes twitching slightly. Say nothing else. Even the basic force posture of this punch is very awkward, too stiff, I'm afraid it will hurt himself back. However, boom, the steel trembled slightly, and the instrument connected to the steel suddenly stopped after flashing a few numbers. Just when everyone was wondering, isn't it broken? Why didn't you get any grades? Everyone whispered. The invigilator checked the instrument again suspiciously. It's bloody bad luck. After meeting Yi Ren, he has to check every test that is an extremely high-precision instrument on weekdays. The moment the invigilator's hand touched the steel, chuck, cracked, starting from the center of the steel, there are spider web-like cracks that are extending rapidly. Next second, there was the sound of splintering gravel. The 1-meter-high steel turned into rubble all over the ground. Ah, if it's broken, don't I need to pay for it? Yi Ren scratched his head. Before he could react, his arms suddenly tightened. Mr. Yu came to Yi Ren with a teleportation speed. She grabbed Yi Ren's hand. A trace of surprise flashed in her beautiful eyes. Unscathed. After smashing the thick stone tablet with one punch, the child's hand was only slightly scratched. Surprise. No, it should be said that it was shocking. Breaking the steel is not difficult, and for Mr. Yu, it can be done with just a slap. But it was poured into the interior of the steel with vigor. Made with skill, but Yi Ren clearly used his fists to attack, and smashed the steel. Why are you so hard? Think about it. Mr. Yu couldn't help asking. Ah, it's hard, isn't it a good thing? Yi Ren blinked. Mr. Yu first frowned slightly, and then pursed his lips slightly, a hint of amusement appeared on his pretty face. You kid, are you kidding me like this? Young birthday. The invigilator was a shudder. This young man is afraid that he doesn't know Mr. Yu's identity, so he dares to say such outrageous words. Mr. Yu, he just. The invigilator wanted to explain for Yi Ren. But I didn't expect that Mr. Yu didn't seem to care. He even chuckled lightly. Son, do you want to be my apprentice? As soon as these words came out, the invigilator seemed to have an egg in his mouth, and his eyes were almost protruding. You, Mr. Yu. Others may not know the meaning of this sentence. But the invigilator is different. He is also a member of the education system, even how high is Mr. Yu's status in Longguo? For a moment, he looked at Yi Ren with flattering eyes. If you can become Mr. Yu's apprentice. Then this child literally flew up a branch and turned into a phoenix. Please let me think about it. Although it feels good to be seen by the boss. But Yi Ren dared not agree rashly. At this time, the invigilator sucked in a mouthful of liangpi, and just wanted to yell that it was unreasonable. Being valued by Mr. Yu. You still have to think about it. Think about it. Little classmate, do you know who Mr. Yu is? She is. Then answer me after you think about it. Mr. Yu interrupted the invigilator. His expression became a little colder. Just as he was about to leave, he felt his clothes being ripped off. Yi Ren looked at her eagerly. Well, beautiful sister. How can I contact you if I don't add WeChat? Hiss. It turned out to be WeChat. The scalps of everyone who was so good at this operation were numb, and even Mr. Yu was stunned for a moment. She stared at Yi Ren for several seconds. Finally, he nodded with a subtle expression. You kid, really funny. Take advantage of the opportunity to add friends. Yi Ren secretly went online to find out who Mr. Yu is. The results startled him. She has lived to be more than 200 years old, and she is a provincial leader in the current Longguo education system. More than 200 years old. Obviously looking at 26-7. Yi Ren admits that he is a concubine, but this is too much. However, he took a tangled glance at Mr. Yu's flourishing beauty. Age is not a problem, such a good-looking big sister is not a problem even if she is 2,000 years old. At this time, the instrument beeps beeping belatedly. 100. The stells were all broken, so it was no surprise to get a full score, but the crowd still felt that it was difficult to breathe at this moment. 3 full marks, what kind of monster is this? Why city, or even our province, if there is no accident, the number 1 scholar will be him, right? Wang Xiaoxiao moved away from Xiangbing calmly. Quietly, leaned towards Yi Ren. But why didn't Xiangbing notice this scene? He gritted his teeth, but his eyes were full of despair. The gap is not big enough for him to be jealous. But the gap is too big, he can only be moved and depressed. Congratulations, Yi Ren, with such good grades, there are many colleges waiting for you to choose. The proctor patted Yi Ren on the shoulder. Congratulations with all smiles. But Yi Ren thinks it's not over yet. That 300 points is not a perfect score, is it? Isn't there another project? As soon as this word came out, everyone froze for a moment. You're talking about the test of Yaoguang stepping into the sky for 3 stages. But you're only 1 stage. The invigilator looked puzzled. Yi Ren stretched his muscles and said indifferently. As long as you can jump 6 meters high, that's all right. Reaching this standard is a full score. At this time, everyone is a little numb. You are not satisfied with 100 points in the 3 subjects, and you want to take an extra challenge. Could it be? Can he really perform miracles? Let him try. Even Mr. Yu showed an expression of interest. After the instrument is turned on, it will automatically track and measure. Yi Ren jumped on the spot twice, looking a little clumsy. He's only for a while. Someone couldn't help muttering in a low voice. Yes, Xiangbing has a dark face. I managed to break through to the Yaoguang stepping space realm, which is a magical realm. When I gather qi, I can make my body lighter. It's not like him, it's like a hammer. The warrior of Yaoguang stepping into the sky. Gather energy and lighten the body, you can use your strength to do many magical operations that seem to be anti-Newton. It's a trick that seems to lessen the effects of gravity. But Yi Ren is different. Jump and you're done. He bent his legs and made a running gesture. Then he suddenly jumped up towards the top. Sigh, air resistance and gravity, pulling Yi Ren at the same time. But even so, how many meters away? Yi Ren in the deep air looked down. Huh, it's so high, I'm afraid of heights. It's okay if you don't look at it, but Yi Ren lost his balance when he saw it, and fell to the ground with his back on his back. Yi Ren can still imagine himself falling to the ground. It must be embarrassing, but unexpectedly, on the way of falling, a faint fragrance hit. Yi Ren was caught by the boss, and fell back to the ground lightly, avoiding the embarrassment of landing on his buttocks. Can you loosen my clothes? Mr. Yu's eyes drooped slightly. Only then did Yi Ren realize that he was clutching at his clothes because of nervousness. After hastily letting go, Yi Ren scratched his head in embarrassment. Smell good. There is an intoxicating fragrance on this big sister. 100. Yi Ren's jump was at least 7 or 8 meters high, surpassing the average 3rd-level warrior. So far, Yi Ren's total score came out. 400 points. Congratulations, Yi Ren. You have created a miracle. I don't know who started the applause first. But soon there was continuous applause, as well as cheers and applause from the rest of the people. Wang Xiaoxiao wanted to get close at this time. She whispered good things in her mouth, but Yi Ren didn't answer her. After putting her hot face on her cold butt, Wang Xiaoxiao sighed with regret. Annoyed that knowing Yi Ren is so excellent, he should have a good relationship with him in advance. Xiangbing didn't know when he quietly left the scene. He knew that he and Yi Ren were no longer from the same world. After the exam, a large number of journalists poured into the exam room. The interview microphones were almost stuffed into Yi Ren's mouth. The flashing lights never stopped. These reporters have already received the news that there is a genius in Y City, who has achieved a miracle of perfect scores in all 4 subjects. Yi Ren was surrounded by a large number of reporters, but now he only wants to find Wang Buchong and Li Fidao. Oh, and the monitor. It's all over, why hasn't Yi Ren moved yet? Wang Buchong wondered, there are too many reporters, give way a little bit, I still have to find my brother. Wang Buchong, have you found Yi? No, you didn't find it either. Wang Buchong and Li Fidao met up, and it stands to reason that Yi Ren should call them. Why didn't you see anyone? Could it be that the test is too bad, something is wrong in my heart, so I left first, right? Just when the two were frowning, the squad leader suddenly appeared in front of them. Today's monitor is wearing a sassy short-sleeved, looking at Wang Buchong and the others expressionlessly. Is Yi Ren with you guys? Well, Wang Buchong shook his head and was about to say something when his eyes froze suddenly. The people surrounded by the group of reporters. Why does it look familiar? Oh no, look over there, is that Yi Ren? Quote. The squad leader turned his head to look, and then had an expressionless face. There seemed to be a touch of astonishment. Li Fidao let out a wolf howl. What's going on? Why is Yi Ren surrounded by so many reporters? It can't be that he cheated on the exam and will die. No way. Wang Buchong also lived in Bengbu. But when they approached and heard the voices of the reporters, they knew that Yi Ren got 4 full marks in the test. For a while, apart from the squad leader, both of them had disbelief on their faces. Figured there must be a mistake somewhere. After all, Yi Ren, as a martial artist, is not enough to get a full score in one test, let alone 4. But seeing Yi Ren scratching his head, he said in the interview. Actually, it's not that difficult. As long as you practice martial arts every day, everyone can get good grades in the exam. As soon as these words came out, the faces of many candidates changed. It's like the Versailles of red fruit. Because of the joint relationship, Wang Buchong and the others were chased and interviewed by the reporters. It can be regarded as a little famous in Y City. Some big bosses outside the examination room even guarded the exit with piercing eyes. After discovering Yi Ren, they offered high prices one after another, hoping that Yi Ren could endorse their products. The price is easy to say. But Yi Ren looked disgusted. It has nothing to do with your 8 walnuts, the little blue bottle for rejuvenating energy that I can achieve this result. There is also a boss who sells underwear, and said that he wants to give Yi Ren 5 million advertising endorsements. Ask Yi Ren to help falsely promote that this thing has aphrodisiac effects. Yi Ren naturally rejected all of them. In Mr. Yu's eyes, this behavior changed into another meaning, which made her appreciate Yi Ren even more. A daily newspaper organization from Province Y stopped Yi Ren. Yi Ren can refuse small reporters, but the big newspaper in front of him is a household name. The reporter is a beautiful young lady. It can be seen that she also admires Yi Ren, with her big eyes blinking. Excuse me, this student. Do you have a college you like? You must know that with Yi Ren's grades, colleges and universities must be rushing to ask for it, and everyone is looking forward to his answer. Yes, I want to go to Qinglong Academy in the capital. The reporter froze for a moment when the words came out. The status of the 4 colleges is detached, and one of the rigid standards is to only enroll students above the 3rd grade. Despite Yi Ren's outstanding achievements, it seems that he is not doing well. Just when everyone was talking about it, Mr. Yu said, "Special talents deserve special treatment." The female reporter suddenly widened her eyes and let out an exclamation. She has an impression of this beautiful woman in front of her. This is a big guy. It seems that something was written in today's newspaper that this top genius with perfect scores in all 4 subjects has been valued highly by Mr. Yu. What a coincidence. At this time, Director Lin's assistant also drove to the examination room. I solemnly handed over the letter of introduction written by Bureau Forest to Yi Ren. The whole scene was recorded by the newspaper. For a while, the entire internet was discussing Yi Ren, a dark horse that came out of nowhere. Mr. Yu doesn't like noisy people. Before leaving, she said that if Yi Ren successfully entered Qinglong Academy, they will meet again, and I hope Yi Ren can give her the answer on whether she wants to be a teacher. Yi Ren learned that both Wang Buchong and Li Fidao played well. So I proposed to come out to have a good meal in the evening to celebrate, and the squad leader also agreed to come. But after arriving at the restaurant at night, Yi Ren only saw Wang Buchong and Li Fidao. No, where is my monitor? Yi Ren was dumbfounded. He sent a message to the squad leader, but it took a long time for the squad leader to respond. Sorry, I have something to do, I won't go tonight. Seeing this news, Yi Ren felt that the joy in his heart was diluted a lot. But in order to take care of the 2 sons Wang Buchong and Li Fidao, he had to suppress his inner emotions first. You have been hiding it from us for so long, what are you trying to do? That is to say, if I knew you were hanging like this, I would have hugged your thigh. Have a few cokes. Both Wang Buchong and Li Fidao were a little dizzy. Yi Ren just scratched his head and smiled wryly. At this time, Yi Ren glanced, because his extraordinary hearing allowed him to hear the voice calling for help. What are you doing? It was a girl, about 15 or 16 years old, tall and handsome, wearing an off-the-shoulder t-shirt and denim shorts. The whole body exudes a youthful atmosphere. However, in front of this little sister was a bald man who was about 1.8 meters tall, with rough muscles and a dragon tattoo on his face. The little girl pursed her lips in fear, her big watery eyes were full of fear. And that big burly bald man. He reeked of alcohol all over. At this time, he used his huge hand compared to the little girl to grab her arm. Why are you running? I called you, didn't you hear me? Please let me go, I don't know you. I don't know what's wrong, don't you get to know each other after playing for a while? Please let me go, I'm going to call the police. The little girl was about to cry. The bald man was swaying drunkenly, speaking obscenities. The other hand touched the little girl's buttocks. This scared her a lot. Tisk, you're playing hooligans, aren't you? Yi Ren frowned and stood up. In broad daylight. There is no king's law, and there is no law. With so many passers-by watching, none of them dared to stand up and help the little girl. Yi Ren looked disappointed. These are some cold-blooded monsters. But just when Yi Ren was about to step forward, Wang Buchong stopped him, and said nervously. Don't be impulsive, Yi Ren, look over there. Huh. No wonder no one dared to come forward to help. It turned out that the tables next to the rogue drunk were all with him. At least a dozen people. Let's call the police first, don't be impulsive, there are too many of them. Yes, call the police first. They belong to Obsidian Dragon Martial Arts Academy, we can't fight them. Obsidian Dragon Martial Arts Hall. Yi Ren was taken aback for a moment, and he had heard a little about this martial arts school. City Y is not small, but news about the Obsidian Dragon Martial Arts Academy is published every 3 days. But mostly negative news. It is said that the people in this martial arts gym beat some of those who came to kick the gym into disabilities directly, and they were very cruel. In the simplest terms, this martial arts gym is not clean, it is dark. Wang Buchong and the others proposed to call the police, but at this time the girl might be too scared. She wanted to escape, but the strong man grabbed her by the hair and threw her to the ground. She screamed in pain. Did I tell you to run away? It's your luck that I see you, understand? Still running away. There is a high probability that I feel ashamed. Or alcohol on the brain. He actually raised his fist at the little girl. This big man who is about 8 meters tall wants to punch a weak little girl. Brother Mang, even the people on his side, including a few young men, couldn't stand this scene. Li Daming, do things, who are you? Shut your mouth. After being yelled back by Li Daming, those boys didn't dare to speak anymore. The little girl closed her eyes in fear. Facing Li Daming's brutality, she was helpless. It's too late to call the police. Wang Buchong only heard Yi Ren leave such a sentence, and then his eyes blurred. Li Daming's hand couldn't drop. Yi Ren grabbed his wrist and shouted back. Whoever of you helps me record a video, I'm doing it bravely, but don't be judged as a fight then. Li Daming is only a second-tier martial artist, but he has lived a long time and experienced a lot. Plus now that alcohol is on his mind again, he cursed angrily. He actually picked up the empty wine bottle, and with all his strength, he slammed it on Yi Ren's head. Both Li Fidao and Wang Buchong were taken aback. This thick wine bottle hits the most vulnerable head, even a warrior can't bear it. Not to mention that Yi Ren is only a segment. But with a bang. Yi Ren calmly wiped away the broken glass on his face. Everyone see it clearly. He did it first. Meaning is. Next I belong to legitimate defense. Just when everyone was amazed at why Yi Ren's head was so hard. Li Daming actually used a broken wine bottle. It stabbed Yi Ren in the stomach. Grandpa will perform an appendix operation on you. He's crazy. He must be crazy. Can Yi Ren dodge at such a close distance? The little girl on the ground covered her eyes and screamed on the spot. I'm afraid to see the picture of intestines falling to the ground. However, this is not Yi Ren's cry. It belongs to Li Daming. Yi Ren didn't move, but after the bottle pierced his stomach, the reaction force directly exploded. A large number of broken glass pierced Li Daming's hands. This can be said to be bloody. Hey, look at your hand, does it look like a prickly pear? Yi Ren is still there. Because it rhymes. At this time, the people around were dumbfounded. All of them opened their mouths wide open, unable to recover for a long time. Wang Buchong scratched his head. Can I get drunk even with coke? Am I hallucinating? Illusion fart. Hurry up and help. Although I was scared to death. The two sons were still loyal enough, and they kicked back Li Daming's frame with one kick. Li Daming's face is ferocious, it hurts. At this time, the group of guys around him didn't know whether they were senior brothers or dog legs. Only then did they swarm up and support him. Brother Mang, are you okay? Shall I call 119? Call 110. I need an ambulance. Didn't you see Brother Mang bleeding? Hurry up. What's the 120 number? Li Daming gritted his teeth and pushed them away. With a cactus. Oh no, pointing at Yi Ren with a trembling hand. You beat him to death. Kill him. I will be responsible for the accident. For a while, Wang Buchong and the others were sweating crazily on their backs. But Yi Ren tilted his head. Are you going to fight? The video is being recorded. I'm acting in self-defense. The scum of these obsidian dragon martial arts. His personality is not a good one either. Relying on the large number of people on his side, he rushed over. The others around quickly backed away. For fear of being affected. Some well-wishers looked outside nervously, praying for the police to come quickly. Oops. After all, Wang Buchong and Li Fidao are still two young people. Never seen a big scene. It's also useless to practice duels in school. I've never really fought a real person before, so it's only natural to feel scared at this time. But even so, they also gritted their teeth and did not retreat, planning to fight. But Yi Ren took 2 steps forward at this time. Movement is effortless. Seemingly lightly slapped and fanned out. Snapped. Phew. Boom. The person in the front flew into the air, spun 4 or 5 times at a height of more than 2 meters from the ground, and finally collapsed unconsciously on the table next to him. It's not over yet. Less than a minute and a half. A bunch of unconscious people lay on the ground. The instigator, Yi Ren, patted the non-existent dust on his hands, as if he had just cleaned up the garbage. That, everyone saw it, they did it first, and I was acting in self-defense. The faces of the people around were stiff, and they nodded subconsciously. When Yi Ren helped the little girl who was already stunned from the ground. The little sister's eyes were shining. Add Yi Ren's WeChat account for everything. If it weren't for the crowds here, it seemed that he couldn't help but throw himself into Yi Ren's arms. May I ask which young and lovely little sister does not dream of being saved by a hero one day? On the contrary, Yi Ren couldn't bear her enthusiasm, and shrank his hands in embarrassment. Stop rubbing. Although it is very soft, it is easy to cause problems. Is the little girl developing so well now? Hateful. At this time, Wang Buchong and Li Fidao swallowed belatedly, and looked at Yi Ren in astonishment. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.